And it started basically when I was younger, when I was about 9 years old. I was very hyper, and I used to get in trouble all the time. So my dad had a friend that he practiced martial arts, and he put me in the Kung Fu school. So that was my first art. And that's when I started practicing Kung Fu. And that gave me the energy for me to settle down my thoughts and to kind of focus on what I was trying to do. I never thought that I was going to take martial arts as a career. All my family are professionals and whatnot on their own thing. So my dad always pushed me for me to keep going to the Kung Fu school and try to balance with regular school. My issue was that I was dyslexic, well, I'm still dyslexic. And at that time, they didn't know exactly how to handle that. And obviously the people there, obviously where I used to live, they didn't know exactly what was going on. So I was the slow kid of the whole neighborhood. So when I started practicing martial arts, that gave me the self-esteem, the focus, the energy for me to kind of try to look a different path. So when I noticed that helped me, I realized that I could help somebody else with Kung Fu. And I always had thought that people that practice Kung Fu or practice martial arts, they have a good tendency of trying to help people and whatnot. And since I was growing up, I always liked superheroes, and I always had thought that I would like to be a superhero. So obviously I cannot have a cape and whatnot. So every Saturday morning there used to be the martial art class, the martial art TV shows, Kung Fu theater. And that used to motivate me a lot because they used to be the masters and all those monks. The first attributes for you to practice Kung Fu, you're supposed to be honest, truthful, all those virtues that I liked. So obviously I grew up with that type of mentality of practicing and really searching for that type of philosophy. And that pushed me where we're at right now, with the martial arts and Kung Fu. Step to the side, booms out, press it down, and hit booms. Do you follow? So if I go like this, boom, there you go. Push it. Boom, beautiful, yeah. Boom, right, so pop it right here. Boom, and totally get out of the way. So when you get out of the way, you're still on your center, yeah? And stay there, perfect, right there. So you see your stance here? Pull your stance a little bit more. The other one that he's doing is blocking with the palm and pop. Nice. Let me see you, Princess. Ready? Hands up. So I'm going to punch with this hand. This one blocks. Boom. Swing this hand like this. And bring it to the head. I was lucky. Yes, I was lucky to find my first Sifu. That was David Ruyo Tovar. And I was lucky because he was a really true and honest martial artist. It doesn't mean that the other people were not, but it was different eras, different stages of my life. So since I was younger, I think I needed that type of Sifu, a Sifu that it was aggressive, that it liked to train hard, it liked to go out of training and go home limping and go and challenge people and whatnot. So I guess when you're in martial arts, it's like the wine, the older you get, you mature a little bit more and you start realizing that it's not just the physical, but also the knowledge and the way that you start seeing martial arts. So basically when I started doing that, when I started practicing with my first Sifu, he was very aggressive. He was a fighting Sifu. The majority of Kung Fu schools, they're not, usually they're not known for fighting. And every time they used to say, well, you practice Kung Fu, oh, you don't practice fighting, you just guys dance. So Sifu was the opposite. He always used to try to put in action what he taught. So when time passed, I met another Sifu that this particular Sifu, his mentality was a little bit more spiritual, that I went with him for a couple of years. Then I met Grandmaster Eric Lee. I started with him for 5 years. This is the Kinakata. awesome seafood. Different mentality of life as well. More health-wise as well, you know, a little bit more spiritual as well. And then I had the opportunity to practice with Grandmaster Douglas Wong, also from the lineage of five animals, that I was amazed with his knowledge and whatnot. And then I had the opportunity to practice and be a disciple from Grandmaster Saint Ma, that this is the grandson of Art Wong from the five animal system. That's currently the system that we practice, one of the systems that we practice. There's so many. The last one was Grandmaster Samuel Kwok from the Wing Chun system. And, you know, it's nice to grow in the martial arts because you can see from every sifu, you see the different aspects of martial arts and the different point of view. And I know that each sifu has given a contribution to the martial arts. And that's the coolest thing though, because you can see each sifu has taught me to be three-dimensional. So the majority of the instructors, when you have an instructor that is way too traditional, they see things in just one point. All the other instructors that I'm telling you about, they see things three-dimensional. And that means that you can, if you do a punch like this, you can do it like this, or like this. Other people's like, you have to do it this way. So when you have the opportunity to practice with instructors like this type of caliber, they give you the opportunity for you to grow as a martial artist and also to give more to your students, because if they put a contribution of their knowledge in the martial arts, that gives me the opportunity for me to combine those five instructors and give my contribution as well to my students to the martial arts. So that's what I think of my instructors. Hi everybody, this is Master Velasquez from Angel's Black Tiger Academy down here in Banning, California. Today we have Sifu Dan with us, and also Sifu Time. They're going to help us today on doing some of the basic self-defense techniques that you're going to be learning in class. On this particular technique, we're going to be seeing Sifu Dan pushing Sifu Time. Go slow, go one. On this momentum, you're going to let your classmate or the opponent push, and you're going to let the strike follow through with it. And the same momentum, you're going to go one, you're going to do the move, go two, and lock. On this momentum, you're locking what we call the forearm. And that momentum is really important to lock between the forearm and the elbow. Two, strike, three, four, and five. And retreat, one, two. One more time. Let's go slow. Go one, two, three, four. Perfect. And up. Right over here on this one on the floor, please. Perfect. And this particular technique is very important to emphasize on the attack of the momentum. Once you come in, remember, you're making your opponent move back. So when he's pushing, you letting it go. Do not stay strong with the momentum, you let it go. At the same time, if you stay on this momentum, when you go like this and if you lift, it's gonna hit. So you're gonna try to follow through. You're gonna go above, over, and lock. You're gonna lock between your forearm and the elbow up. On this momentum, once you lock, the second strike, we call it Python. Python is gonna go right to the throat, and it's gonna be a snap momentum. Once you do the snap, you're going to hold them again into the throat, and this one you're going to curl your leg that you have on the back over. You're going to put the ball of the foot on the floor, very important. For safety reasons right now, my classmate is going to grab my wrist. At the same time I pop, my ball of the foot is going to top the floor. Your opponent comes down. At the same time, you do your break, you do your two punches, and then you come out. And then up. Perfect. So let's do this one more time. Ready? We're going to go full speed. Action. Tres. Perfect. That's technique number one. You know, funny, because when I started practicing martial arts, like I said, I was very aggressive. My first Sifu, I remember me going to high school, and he was passing flyers. And my first Sifu, for the lack of he used to be in a gang when he was younger. So he used to have his 3 tiers on this side, and I remember me going to school, and he was at the door. He was passing flyers. So the flyer, and those flyers were handmade they were handmade and cut pieces and put them together and make copies and copies and copies. So I went to the class, and the first class, I knocked at the door. Everything was painted. You could not see through the thing. It was painted. I knock at the door. He opens the door, but he doesn't open wide. He just opens a crack, and he puts one eye and says, "Yes." And I said, "Well, I got your flyer. I come to practice, Kung Fu." And he says to me, "Are you going to enroll?" "Well, no, I want to see. There's no seeing." He closed the door on me. So I went like, "Oh, wow." So I went back. I got home. I got some money. I came back. I knocked, and he let me in. I came in, and he put me in a horse stance position for the first class. For the first 4 or 5 classes, he put me in a horse stance. That's the only thing. I was young and very hyper. My whole life I've been very hyper. And when I was younger, I was very cocky. And I knew I knew how to kick, but I never did any formal martial arts. So I thought I was pretty bad. I thought I was the main dude, especially in high school. So when I saw Sifu stretching, he was stretching and putting his leg up, but I always thought that he was just like everybody else, a pretty dancer and whatnot, So my cockiness got to the point that when we were sparring, I was used to hurt my classmates. So Sifu calls me, and he says, "Angel, I need to talk to you." And I say, "Yes, Sifu." He says, "Well, your classmates have been complaining that you're hurting your classmates every time you spar with them. So you need to kind of slow down on your sparring." And I said, "Oh, well, Sifu, who told you that?" And he says, "Well, I don't want to tell. I'm just telling you that you need to kind of chill." I said, "Okay, Sifu." So I go out, and Sifu says, "Oh, well, get a classmate." And we get a classmate, we bow, shake hands, fight. We start fighting. And before we fight, I go like so to shake the hand of the person. The person shakes my hand. And as soon as he shakes my hand, I do a roundhouse to the ear. And obviously, that was not right, like I said. And I popped this guy on the ear. He starts hustling a little bit, so I hugged him, right, real quick. Sifu comes and he says, "So what happened?" And I said to him, "Oh, boy, his birthday." And he turns around, he looks at me, and he says, "Oh, you're trying to be smart." So he puts the other student around, he says, "Put your headgear." And I get an attitude. I said, "I don't think I need a headgear." He says, "Yes, you do need a headgear. Put your headgear on." I said, "I don't need a headgear." So I started giving him an attitude, not being humble. Like I said, this Sifu was very, very physical. So he put up a thing, and he goes like this, and I don't move, right? And he says, "Oh, you want me to go first?" I just did one knot like this, and I got a roundhouse, boom, in my face. So I moved back, and he says, "Put your headgear on." I put my headgear on, and I said to myself, as soon as he says fight, I'm just gonna go like a pit bull, crazy towards him, right? So he says fight, and as soon as he says fight, I go in, and he gets me with a roundhouse. But he moved his legs like you move your arms really quickly. He did a roundhouse and hit me right on the ear. So since I was coming forward, he didn't snap the kick. He just left the leg there on the roundhouse. So instead of me going that way, I kind of scrolled this way. So my headgear flipped this way. So I couldn't see. So I bent down, and when I took my headgear on and I look up, I saw Sifu spinning up, doing punches and kicks. So I get up, and obviously I'm a little bit already nervous, knowing where I'm at, right? It's like when that's when I realized that I was in trouble. So I get up, he stops, he does a side kick. I hit the corner of the wall that it was like so. I hit like a ball, boom, 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 boom. Everybody started laughing. He does another kick, I land on my butt. So from that point forward, I learned humbleness. And I realized that there's always going to be somebody stronger than you. There's always going to be somebody more physical and smarter than you. So you need to kind of slow down. So when you think that you know something, that's when you know that you don't know nothing at all. So this Sifu totally showed me definitely humbleness. And sometimes people that are hyper, like myself, or people that are very physical, they need that type of discipline in the beginning, to be strong and short. Not everybody's like that, because not everybody's a warrior, or not everybody is a fighter, or not everybody has that type of energy. I guess different Sifus kind of know exactly where to tap on different students and exactly where to go at. And with this particular Sifu, like I said, by him acting that way and being that aggressive, he put discipline with actions. That nowadays is very rare. Nowadays is very rare. So I really never changed the lineage of Kung Fu. I always follow the same lineage of the 5 animals. And the reason being, though, is because I fell in love with the philosophy of my first Sifu. And like I said, and I guess because I was meeting different type of Sifus on my life, each Sifu was a different type of age, so the mentality was different. And the advantage that I got from a Sifu is like exactly that. Depending where they are in their lives, that's the things that I was learning. So things that maybe my Sifu taught to other students, maybe I would not know because he was in a different type of period of his life. And things that I know, maybe that student would not know. So I guess that gave me that path and the way that I see martial arts, and it gave me that humbleness, like I said, to follow through and to stick with the art that I'm doing now. Now we go with technique number 2. And this scenario, now Sifu time is going to be attacking Sifu down. Go slow, go 1. On this momentum, he's going to grab the wrist. 2, he's going to put the palm up. There you go. This is what we call the mirror block. On this momentum, if you see, you're already extending the hand of your classmate. 4, 5, 6, and 7. Perfect. One more time. Let's move back a little bit to the side. Let's go slow. One more time, slow. 1. Perfect. And this momentum, your classmate is going to go forward. And this is what we call seeing yourself in the mirror. 2, 3, 4, 5. Perfect. Nice. Stay right here on that side. On this momentum, we go the same thing. Your classmate is going to grab the wrist. You're going to go over. You're overextending your opponent's hand. 3, you're going to hit what we call hand on the table. The momentum, when you hit like this, you're going to accompany it with your weight at the same time. As soon as you pop, elbows and index finger are going to touch your shoulders. So with your elbows, you're going to try to push your opponent away. As soon as your opponent's arm distance, you're going to go right to the eye. The leg that is on the back is going to do a snap and kick right to the solflex, and you're going to finish on your fighting stance position. We're going to do this one more time at full speed. Ready? Action. Perfect. One more time. Yes, my grandmaster, Eric Lee, with one of the Sifus that I practiced for about 6 years. He is known as the King Nakata. Awesome practitioner on his forms, weapons, and whatnot. With this particular Sifu, this is the one who kind of pretty much taught me the weapons of that we know and whatnot. It was really awesome to be practicing with him, though, because every time that I used to come with him, it was a challenge. Because let's say if he used to say to me on a Monday, when you come on Wednesday, we're going to see, the sword, the broadsword, and I come with a broadsword, and he's waiting me with a kwando, So it was always that type of Sifu that helped me really to be on my toes. Then when I had the opportunity to practice with Grandmaster Douglas Wong, awesome on his weaponry as well. The way of teaching and the way of showing the art is totally very unique on the way of difference of teaching. The knowledge, I don't want to say that it's incredible because of the way that he manipulates also the weapons and the way that Grandmaster Carey shows also his weapons. So I guess both of the instructors have given me really strong, solid roots for me to teach my students. My Grandmaster, Simbing Ma, basically, he's the one who kind of gave me a strong roots on the Ungakuen system that I'm very, very grateful. Being with Grandmaster Simbing Ma for over 20 years. I love him to death. He's a really nice person. And he has taught me, like I said, the very basics of Ungakuen that I feel very proud of. And right now we're on a new journey. We're practicing with Grandmaster Samuel Kwok from the Wing Chun system, Ip Man lineage, that I feel very honored as well. That I also did the Bai Sai ceremony. And like I said, we always try to represent the system and try to represent our Sifus right, so we can kind of pass the knowledge right to our students. Because by the end of the day, when I was growing up in martial arts, I bumped into a lot of fakers and a lot of instructors that used to take the money, and they kind of lied to me and say to me, I know one thing, and then obviously by the time you realize that it's not. Nowadays, you press a button and you can find out if it's true or not. So I prefer to talk to my students with the truth and to talk with my sifus with the truth. And that's what we call the Ganshen thing. And it's a relationship from heart to heart that you have. Every instructor has different points of views. You know, obviously, if you teach from your home, your mentality of teaching is different. And if you teach in a building, they have to pay rent. The mentality is different as well. But I always have said that I know this doesn't come to the question, but since we're talking about instructors and whatnot, you know, I always have said to my students that we have different types of students that come to our school. We have students, we have customers, we have clients, and then we have disciples. And then whoever walks through that door, it's up to them to decide what they want to be. Me, I always wanted to be a disciple. So in the beginning, you have the customer that they comes and asks you how much everything costs and how many times a month they do tests. And as soon as they start asking you those questions, well, you know he's a customer. You know, he's not a student, he's a customer. He wants to know what's going on. The student, he wants to enroll, he doesn't care, he just wants to enroll, but he goes there every single day. You know, he doesn't expect anything else, less or more, he just goes. So that's a student. The client, well, again, you know, the client is he goes and practices, like we talked in the beginning, and the disciple is the one that goes and it doesn't care how much it costs. It doesn't care if you're teaching the same punch over and over. He's just stay there because you have faith on the knowledge that you have. So I always, with my instructors, I always have faith with all of them. But when you realize on this road of the martial arts, I always have said that you have to decide exactly what you want to be. If you want to be a disciple, a student, or a client, you know. So when you have that ganshen, because it can be ganshen on any of those three levels, you know, it can be a relationship from heart to heart financially, you know, or so you decide. But once you decide and you establish that with your sifu, that's the path that you're going to have for the rest of your training with him. With all my sifus, I have tried to have that type of ganshen of me being a disciple, you know, and try to represent to the best way that I can. And I guess that's pretty much it. Now we're going to be seeing technique number 3. On this technique, Sifu Dan is going to be attacking, seeking time. This position now, keep in mind that we have to be three-dimensional on this particular technique. Your opponent can come from behind or from the side. On this particular scenario, your opponent is going to come from the side. So your opponent is going to come grab 1 real slow, 2, 3, 4, and back again. One more time, slow. 1, 2, 3, perfect. Thank you. Please have a seat. On this particular technique, we're going to go the same thing. Your opponent is going to grab the shoulder. Once he grabs the shoulder, you're going to put your palm right on top of his fingers, of his knuckles. Now in this position, you're putting your hand on top of the hand like this, okay? Very important, this momentum though, because once you put him here open, when he's going to have a little bit of hard time for open to hand. So we have the power to go like this, but not to go like so. So this one is basically you're trapping your opponent. So this is 1, 2, you're moving out of the way. And as soon as you move out of the way, your hand goes backwards and it does a break, 2. And as soon as you climb forward, you step on a Kuwin Chimbo and you hit right to the face of your opponent. So we're going to go slow again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's try it together one full time. Good. Put some into it. One more time. Perfect. So we're going to start with technique number 4. In this situation, now Sifu time is going to be attacking Sifu down. We're going to start slow. It's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Beautiful. One more time, real slow. 1 and 2, and stop right there. Right there, hold it on top. Perfect. Do you guys remember the name of this block? No, huh? So remember what we talked about is pretty girl seeing herself in the mirror. Ah, nice. So it's very important when you lift and missing, you see you have a mirror and you're looking yourself in the mirror. Oh, we call it tan sao. So after you do that momentum, go 2. Perfect. And this momentum, you hit it with the hardest part of your body, that is the tip of your elbow. 4, 5, 6, and arm bar. Nice, beautiful, perfect. One more time, real slow. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Perfect, nice, awesome. Kind of sit over there, nice. So now we're gonna go with the momentum. So your opponent is gonna grab the wrist, either or you wanna grab this one? Okay. So on this momentum, you're gonna overextend the opponent. It's very similar to the first technique. So you're gonna overextend, and at the same time they overextend, with the tip of the elbow, you're gonna try to hit on the wrist or forearm. So the momentum is 1, and you hit 2. As soon as you hit, the hand that is on top comes down. As soon as you come down, you see yourself in the mirror again. So it will be 1, 2, 3, you see yourself in the mirror, and then you put another mirror to see yourself as well. That's 2 mirrors that you're having here. Now, footwork. On your footwork is very important, because once you grab 1, you're gonna do a small step. 1, 2, and the leg that you have on the front is gonna move back. On this momentum, when your classmate goes back and he moves, is 1, 2, 3, all the way to the ground. Now, the reason that you don't want to hold your hands like this, you don't want to grab, is because from here is a variation of the technique that we're going to see later on. So for now, it's not a grab, it's just a lock, containment. So we're going to try that one full time. And action. So on my first Sifu, David Rubio, he decided to close his school down because he became a Christian. So on his thoughts, he didn't thought that martial arts and Christianity was not, he didn't thought it was the right thing. Me, and the other way, I thought it was everything depends how you teach the martial arts. So when he closed the school, I stayed with the school. And I guess my first mentality was to have thousands of students. That was in thousands of schools. That when you go and see Enter the Dragon, you see a bunch of people doing their punches and whatnot. And that was my thought in the beginning, to have a whole bunch of students, whole bunch of schools. And I keep moving forward, basically, A lot of people told me that I would not be able to go as far as I've been gone, been doing things. But I always have said that the negative opinion of other people doesn't have to be your reality. I always have thought that you need to follow your dreams and stay strong. And some people kind of criticize me for this type of thought that I have. It's not true that if you get up early, they said, what's that saying? Bird that gets early gets the worm, or something like that. I think that's totally a lie. It depends, because other people, these birds, they don't go to sleep. So that depends on the mentality and the necessity that you're in. So when I opened the school, when Sifu left me the school, I was hungry. And I think I'm still hungry. That's why I'm kind of chunky. I'm still hungry, and I always wanted to have more and try to conquer and try to be able to teach. My first Sifu, we used to tell us in class, tell me your mentality. What's a Sifu to you? And every student, every classmate used to tell them the mentality of a Sifu. Well, the Sifu used to be this and this and this. And he used to say, well, that's the Sifu that you want to be. That's the Sifu that I cannot be that Sifu. That's yours. That's the Sifu that you want to be. And I realized that by me having that type of thought, I could do something. And I start pushing myself, and I start trying to look for opportunities, and prayer for me to do a lot of things. But I'm not the type of person that I sit down and pray. I'm the type of person that I do action by me moving and praying at the same time. And I try to look for the right thing. So that gave me the opportunity for me to open my first school. I found a parent that it was very kind to me. We were practicing, and when I came to the States, we opened the. I have lung cancer. I had lung cancer at that time, so the doctor told me that I need to start working out again. So I went to this martial arts school, a karate school, and I enrolled there. And I started practicing for a couple of months, and I started getting better, stronger, better, stronger, better. And the instructor, he says to us, well, we're going to paint the school, and we need for you guys to pay at least 2 or 3 months ahead of time. That way we could kind of get into the funds. And we did. So the next Monday, they would show up to class. The guy closed and he left. So since everybody knew that I had martial arts experience, this parent comes to my house and knocks at the door and says, Angel, he says, I already rent this building for you. And you have 3 months. You have already the first month of the rent and the down payment and 2 months ahead. So it was about 6 months already that it was paid. It says you have the option of go and get that money for you, or you already have 25 students to start with the class. So my intention was not really to open a school, but God put me on that path, and I'm the type of person that I never force anything. I always have said you have to feel it from your heart, and if it feels good, you follow with it. And I follow with that, and God and the people that have been, I've been blessed. I've been blessed with everybody that has been around with me, that I keep in the school where I'm at right now with the school. Right now, have students that are bringing their kids to their class. So it's kind of cool because their parents, they tell me, see if we put them in horse sense the way they used to put me in horse sense. So it's kind of nice to see that we have really strong roots, and that it's really nice that by the way they would teach and the way they would pass the art, that we have giving good basis to the majority of our students that have been on our school. So it's really kind of nice to be able to see that I'm going to be with them for the rest of their lives. And what I mean by that, though, is that when you teach them a punch and a kick, and if they have kids, the first thing they're going to say is, as soon as they do the punch and kick, they're going to remember the first person who taught that, and that's going to be me. So that's kind of cool. In a way, we kind of become immortal, on that. And that's the most best satisfaction that you can have, though, because everything physical or material, it goes away, but the personal satisfaction that you get with somebody knowing or showing a kick or a punch. Example, when we used to teach the horse stance position, some of the kids that didn't get it, because they never rode on a horse before. So horse stance position, and you open your squat position, they didn't get it. So when I started saying, well, you're going to make 2 mountains with your knees, the mentality of the prospect of teaching totally changes. Back in the day, you used to grab a cane, you used to hit them, horse stance, so the mentality is different now. The way that I see the arts and the way that I try to transmit the arts is totally bit different, though, because kids are different. Society is different. So you cannot be that aggressive. And yes, you're in a martial arts school, but times are different. So let's say for me to say, instead of saying horse stance, I say 2 mountains. To say a cat stance, 1 big mountain higher than a little mountain. To say a bow and arrow, 1 river, 1 mountain. So the students, they get a little bit more familiar, with the movements. And I think everything depends how you transmit the art, and that's how you can find that ganshan with the sifu and whatnot. And I think that I have given all these other instructors the combination of all the other knowledge of all the instructors that have poured into one person that has given me that opportunity for me to pass the knowledge to the kids this way that we're doing now. Great, how are we doing so far? Hope you guys getting everything. So now we're going to be going with the next technique number 5, exactly. And this technique, again, we're going to be having Sifu Dan, yes, attacking Sifu time. So let's go slow, and we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, and down. Why so aggressive? Oh my goodness. One more time. Let's go slow. So you go 1 and stop right there. 2, remember the name of the block, you go overextending your classmate. So you're very important to learn the first 2 techniques. That way everything is related to the second technique. Keep in mind that every technique is a blueprint. So the more you practice, this will come to a second nature. Go 2, you hit him with the tip of the elbow. 4, you come down. Remember two mirrors looking at themselves. 3 goes down. Before your climax goes down, it goes 1, 2, 1, 2, and come up. Perfect. Great. Awesome. See? So in this technique is the same thing that the other one. On this one, your opponent grabs, so you're gonna go 1, and as soon as you go 1, remember, the tip of the elbow is gonna hit 2, comes over, 3, and as soon as your climb is going down, before your opponent goes halfway down, that's when you grab the forehead or the hair, and you pull him back. Now, on this momentum, the pull is not long, but it's down. So the head cannot go towards the wall. The head needs to go towards the ground. So instead of going this way, it has to go this way downward. And then you go 1, 2, 3, and then you move out. So let's do it one more time, a little bit slow. So your opponent grabs 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and you move out. Let's do that in one full speed. And action. Perfect, great. Well, yeah, I have a master's in chiropractic, a master's on business management, and a master's on computer science. The reason that I say this is because when you start practicing martial arts, the majority of martial artists, they don't know any type of how to do first aid or how to really, help your student. Let's say let's say when the students get hit on the groin, the first thing they do is start jumping under your heels. And you say, why? Well, because my sensei told me. And you have to say, why? Oh, because, and they go and they don't know why, right? So when I started practicing martial arts, my dad said to me, okay, great, practice martial arts, but you need to finish your school. And the more I start practicing the Chinese arts, I start realizing that every good Sifu that knew martial arts knew healing arts as well. And obviously, so that's why I kind of tended a little bit towards that. When you have this knowledge of healing, you can kind of, when you see your student, you can kind of analyze and see exactly what he misses or what he's getting. Let's say we have students that are really super hyper. And the first thing that parents say or people say is like, this kid is not well behaved. It's not that the kid's not well behaved, it's because you don't understand his process of thinking or this process of energy or his level. So all of us, we have different type of levels. It's like when you put a record, you have those speeds, and depending on your age is the speed that you have. They say that between, let's say, you're 10 years below and above from people. Let's say if we're 25 or 30, you can still kind of click with people that are above 20 years, 10 years above, below, and above. After that, you don't click. When you start teaching, you start to be able to kind of analyze the student, because every student is different. Some of the students, they don't have a full circle on their home. And when they go to a martial arts class, they're looking for that type of balance. Or they're also looking at football, soccer, and whatnot. But now they're either sports field, that type of character. So the majority of people, they want to look for that type of character. So when you go and start, you have students, they come over and they have a physical problem or a hyper problem and whatnot. And you have this type of experiences, well, you can give a better service to the student. And that's some of the schools that makes a big difference to stay a long time or to stay a short time. Because people, by the end of the day, they realize that you're a commercial school or you're a real school that you're really teaching something. The real schools, they're over there, they don't just teach a punch or a kick, they teach what it comes from a punch and a kick. Because keep in mind that you're given a weapon for that student to carry forever. It's not like a gun or a knife. You can leave the knife or the gun anywhere, but the punch and kick that you teach to your student, he's going to have it for the rest of his life. And if you don't teach him how to use it correctly, he can hurt anybody. Example, the other day we were practicing with a student and we were doing a neck choke. And he started choking the student. And I said, well, wait a minute, you don't do it with a forearm. You're taming the student, you're not choking. Oh, well, I always have done it like that. I said, yes, that's because the way you were taught at that moment, it was just aggressiveness. You're not controlling, it was aggressive, different type of thought. Again, different Sifus, different type of mentalities during the time of process. So, but when you have this type of experience and you have this type of knowledge of the healing part, again, you can kind of understand where the student's coming from. You can understand how to work with the student. And obviously, you have sometimes when you have a big group of martial art, you teach by, you teach by quantity, not by quality, because of big people, a lot of people. But sometimes you have the opportunity to teach with quality. And those are the students, again, because you cannot teach with quality, because if you have a bunch of customers, sometimes they don't want quality, they just want satisfaction for that particular moment. They want to look good, they want to sweat, and that's it. They don't want to go into more in detail. So basically, the way that we teach, or the way that we try to work with our students, is try to find out, how they click. And I always have said to the parents and to the students, you need to click with the instructor. As soon as you click with the instructor, the communication is going to be more open, and you're going to be able to control and be able to see what's going on. So how are we doing so far? We start with technique number 6, and this is the last one that we're going to see today. So here we go. On this technique, we're going to have Sifu time attacking Sifu Dan. We're going to go slow. Nice. One more time. Perfect. Great. On this particular technique, we're doing pretty much the same thing that we did the other 3. Keep in mind that all the techniques are leaning to one. Auto technique is giving variables of what you can do. Keep in mind there's so many other exercises that you can do. Everything depends on the experience on the instructor. On this particular technique, you're moving inward. Again, you're going 1, 2. But instead of doing your hand forward, this hand is going to come upward. Going to go 1, 2, and 3. Now, this is very important. Help me out please for a second. This is very important. On this technique, when you turn, and if you put the forearm on the neck, this will be considered a choke. But if you're going to try on this particular technique, remember we're containing. So you're going to try, your elbow is going to touch your chest. So as soon as you do this momentum, the elbow touches your chest. So when it touches your chest, your classmate goes downward. It's not a choke, you're just containing your opponent. If you do a choke, it's different, because the choke, you will choke forward, and then you will try to keep it there. This one, you're just trying to contain, keep your classmate down, pushing forward, then you cut the air circulation, and then you keep it from there. So let's try this one more time by yourselves. Nice. One more time. Go super slow. I don't like that hand. So again, your classmate grabs the arm. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, up here 4, 5, 6. Now, this is very important when you have the choke. 2, you need to look for the triangle of the arm of your opponent. That means that his shin is going to be pointing this way. That way he prevents the choke. Second, his shin is going to try to touch his chest. That way I don't get all the way in there. Yes, if I happen to get all the way in there, obviously you can put your hand in, try to pull out or whatnot, bite, scream, ask for help, I don't know. Everything depends obviously on your ability and your knowledge of the exercises. So these are the 6 basic techniques that we're seeing today. I hope you guys enjoy it. Keep practicing. If you have any questions or doubts, do not hesitate to ask any of your instructors that you see here in front of you guys. Stay tuned, keep motivated, and hope to see you guys in class. Take care. One of the things that I like the most when I teach is when the student comes in and they walk into the training floor and they run like little horses, like when all over the place. They're super excited. And my lovely wife always tells me, hey, tell the kids to settle down. I said, hey, let them be. And the reason being though is because everywhere they go, they have that type of rules. My mentality is when they come and train us, I let them be because we need to show them a certain etiquette. And sometimes by being strict, some of the kids, they don't click like that. You need to be on their level, see eye to eye. My satisfaction is when I teach is that when they come, they go into the class very insecure. By the end of the week, they're super secure of themselves. that gives me a personal satisfaction, like I said before, that nobody can take away. Nobody can take away, because I can see how they walk proud, they stand up proud, they interact with their classmates more secure of themselves. And like I say, that's something nowadays, this is something that is very important for kids, because nowadays kids are, sadly to say, are not built the same way they were before. Now we have kids of sugar. And when I say kids of sugar, is that as soon as they get hit, they complain. Ow, oh, ow. Back in the day, you get hit, get up, come on, let's go. So, and that's because they don't have that mental toughness. But when they start practicing Kung Fu and you start transmitting and you start showing the martial arts in a different type of way, you start creating that mental toughness. And then when you put a test and when you sit down and you move back and you're not telling them what to do, and they start doing things for second nature, you know, no $95 or $120 or $200 or $300 will make you happier than that personal satisfaction, that you know that you're making that kid happy, that you know that you're making that kid cover his goal, that you know you're discovering that master within, you know, that you know the mom and dad are happy because now they know that their kid is happy, and they know the kid is physically able to kick, punch, or even if he wants to get away, run and not getting tired.